Big up everybody. Sorry for the delay, but it is what it is.
On the brakes, Leclerc had that inside line. Perez goes off the track, comes into gate, off goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff.
There you go. So this is Solo P1. Welcome to the end of year season. This is it. Premier League, not Premier League. F1 is done. F1 is done. Season's done. That's the end of it. Season's finished. It wasn't the best season. It wasn't the best season. But I'm still going to miss it because I'm an F1 fan first. I love F1. I've loved F1 since I was a little kid. Just like football, just like tennis, just like wrestling. I don't cover tennis on here on this channel. Maybe down the road, maybe I'll start covering tennis. But they're the sports I grew up watching: WWE wrestling, Formula One, Liverpool, and tennis. That was my thing as a kid. And when I was at school, I excelled at all them sports. Excelled. But today, I'm joined with my Koku, my partner in crime, Toto Abba. Toto Hammer.
Yeah, big up, man. Big up, big up. Can you hear me well?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm good.
the season's finished. I was just saying, look, it wasn't the best of seasons. This video is going to be more of a reflect on the 2023 season. It's not really going to be a big, it's not going to be like a review where we go from lap to lap and go into detail. No, we're not going to do that on this one. We'll probably do that on debrief tomorrow. That'll be the last debrief for the season. We'll probably go into more detail on there. We'll make it different, the debrief. But, yeah, it is what it is, man. Toto, what you saying, man? How do you feel about the season finishing?
Well, even though I couldn't wait till Lewis Hamilton stopped driving that W14 car, because that car was up and down all season, you know?
Yeah.
But I think the whole season alone, it wasn't the best of seasons.
No.
Compared to others. But I think this has got to be one of the worst seasons in Formula One.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of the worst. It's got to be up there, man. Because there was one team. The fans didn't want one team dominating all season. And this is exactly what we got. We got one team dominated all season. Red Bull. Apparently, they stopped developing after a while. What Hamilton mentioned.
After Silverstone.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently, they've stopped developing, but they're still somehow getting this performance. But you know what? I'm not even going to bother anymore. Because it's not going to get checked because the season's over, right? So all this, Red Bull, of course the scandal's still going on. I think Red Bull still got that scandal going on, right?
Nothing's going to happen.
I think exactly, nothing's going to happen. The season's finished now. Nothing is ever going to happen.
Look, we're not enough for that. Forget all that now, yeah. Look, it is what it is. It's never going to change. We know how it is with these people. But we're here now. We're just going to talk about the season ending, 2023. Look. Now, people could turn around to me and say to me, look, Solo, but it happened in the Mercedes era. Solo, it happened in the Vettel era. Solo, it happened in the Ayrton Senna era. Solo, it happened in the Schumacher era. No. For starters, in the Schumacher era and the Senna era, the season was a lot shorter, so there was less races. But you think about it, we've had 21 races. I think it was 21 races. And Red Bull have won 19. Or I think it was 22 races. Yeah, it was 22 races. Yeah, we've had 22 races. And Red Bull have won 20 races out of those 22 races. And Max Verstappen has won 19 of them on his own. Now, Mercedes, even when Mercedes was at their peak of their powers, that never happened. At least you got other teams that are winning the occasional race like Ferrari or Red Bull. You didn't have a complete domination wipeout.
Mercedes didn't have this. Nowhere near. Mercedes didn't win 19 races out of 23. Even
they didn't have 23 races when Mercedes were driving on the top.
I know, because you haven't seen this domination before.
22 races, wasn't it? When it's 22 races,
no,
I'm going to check.
22 races. I think there was 22. I'm pretty sure there's 21 races back then when there was the whole Mercedes domination.
No. Yeah, but what I'm saying is next season is going to be 24 races because China's back. And we know that there should have been more race, and there should have been 2 races this season. It should have been a 24 race. We knew before the season started that it got announced by China that they wasn't going to have it. They cancelled it because of the COVID stuff, and we knew what happened at Imola during that water drought. so they couldn't have no race in there.
Yeah.
So that was 2 races after the calendar. So they went down to So it went down to a 22 race calendar, and Red Bull won. Max Verstappen on his own won 19, but as a collective unit, because the Perez winning one, they won 20 races. So 22 races, 20 races went to Red Bull. Even, like I said, even Ferrari back in the 2000s, and even Senna back in the 80s and the early 90s, and even when the Red Bull in the mid-2000s, the 10s, they never, ever dominated that way. At least, look, a perfect example, 2012 and the 2013 season, at the end of the season, there were 6 drivers that could have won the title that year. The last race, it went into the last race, and there were 6 drivers mathematically could have won that season in 2012.
Like, I got a year to mention.
I'm just saying, you think about it, I remember who they were. It was Alonso.
Yeah.
It was, you know this, it was Lewis Hamilton. It was Vettel. It was
2008
Ozzy
you're
Grit,
talking about.
2012 and 2013. So 2012, 6 drivers could have won the driver's title. So when people say, oh yeah, it happened before. No, it never happened before. No one team, 20 races out of a 22 race calendar. And you remember, back then in 2012, there weren't 22 races a season back then. You think about it. And these, for me, F1 have failed.
And
F1 has failed.
The ones that have to put the blame on is the FIA themselves. Because they
I
allowed
just said F1 has failed.
They allowed this somehow equal performance car just get the better of everyone 20 races, right? They suppose every single year, or maybe every single time they have a relegation change, they always say, we'll try make the cars equal. The cars are going to be more equal next year. More people in it for the championship. I want to see Mercedes. I want to see Ferrari. I want to see Red Bull. I want to see McLaren. I want to see Alpine. I want to see all them challenging for a title so we can get some kind of entertainment. You know, not just relying on the top 3 teams. It's been like this for years now. Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. Mercedes, Red Bull. Mercedes, Ferrari. Red Bull, Mercedes. Red Bull, Ferrari. It's been like this for ages now. And it's all down to the FIA what they allowed this to happen.
Because you know why?
They're having control. They've got control in the regulations.
They can't get the regulations right. They can't get... Now, you got people on Twitter calling Toto a sellout. Toto this. Listen, bro. Unless you are a owner or part owner of a multi-billion dollar or multi-million pound company, and sometimes man's look stressed. He looks stressed. The thing, you know what I like about Toto? Toto wears his heart on his sleeve. When Toto's dying and he's emotional, he shows it. He's the only one on the grid. He's the only team principal, far as I know, over the years while I've been watching Formula One, that I actually see emotion out of him. And I like that. I like seeing emotion out of a team principal. When you see most team principals, they're just there like this, trying to look hard. But with Toto Wolff, when he's dying, you can see that he's dying. He shows his emotion. And this is what I like sometimes. And until you're in charge of a multi-million dollar company, you can't really talk on that. People said, Toto sold out. Seeing pictures of people putting Photoshop pictures of him and Horner congratulating each other. And so, you can see it's a Photoshop standard Outerglow. Maybe Canva standard. You can see that some mark have put it together and said, oh, you know what? Look at those two, they're friends. So team principals are not allowed to talk. You remember that old saying? Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Maybe that's what Toto's doing. Maybe Toto's trying to get information at Horner, maybe, with a couple of whiskeys down him tonight at Abu Dhabi. How do you know? We don't know. But what it boils down to, like, enough of all that, I've got off topic now. What it boils down to, this season has been a failure. It's been a failure. Even for the neutrals, as Lazenby constantly saying it, quote for Lazenby, a quote for the neutrals. Even if you are the neutrals, F1 have failed. They have failed. Lewis Hamilton said at the end of the race in the press conference today, he said what really frightens him, Red Bull stopped developing. You said it, Toto, just now. Red Bull stopped developing, right, after Silverstone, and they're still finishing the race 13 seconds in front of everybody else. That's what worries him. Now, I've stated this on my video numerous of times this season, numerous of times. Ferrari and Aston Martin were clever. And McLaren, they were all clever. Aston Martin knew when they changed the regulations, we come into the 2022 season with the ground effect, which is the worst regulation ever changed. I'm so glad they're going to go back to the old school regulation where it was based on engine power when Mercedes used to dominate. They said at the second, it was the first or second race of the 2022 season, Lance Stroll's dad came out and he said, I'm going to change direction. I'm going the way they're going. And he pointed to Red Bull. I'm going the way that they're going. Very simple. So when they went that way, you could see that Aston Martin was getting faster and faster. Ferrari done it. Aston Martin started to do it. No, not Aston Martin, McLaren, I mean. That's why you see McLaren catching up and catching up and catching up. You can see how fast McLaren is. And I'm happy that McLaren's going faster. You know what would have been the perfect story? There was all rumours at the beginning of the week. Remember we were talking about the weekend? Talking about all these rumours about that Hamilton wanted to go to Red Bull, which is basically made up, by the way. It was all made up. I'm going to tell you why it was made up in a minute.
It's what Lewis said.
You know what would have been nice? If Hamilton would have went back to McLaren when McLaren is a winning car and he would have finished his career at McLaren. Imagine that. You come into Formula One, you're at McLaren, you win your first title with McLaren, you win your first pole position with McLaren, you win all your races with McLaren, and then you go to Mercedes, which is still under the Mercedes banner because it was always under the Mercedes banner. You win all your titles, and then you go back to McLaren and win your last championship at McLaren. Imagine that. You win your first title at McLaren, and you win your last title at McLaren. Imagine that. That would have been a brilliant story. That would have been. I would have liked that if it went back to McLaren and McLaren had a winning car and he wins his ninth world title at McLaren and then say bye bye, I'm retired. Imagine that. That would have been a story. But anyway, back to this Red Bull thing. That story what come out on the weekend. It was just before the weekend. So it was on a Thursday. It was not the weekend. It started to surface online, orchestrated by Horner, by the way. Typical. He come out and said Lewis Hamilton wanted to join Red Bull. He said he wanted to join Red Bull. He contacted Red Bull. And then they spoke to Lewis. And Lewis said, do you know anything about it? He goes, no, I don't know nothing about it. Then they asked Horner again. And Horner says, you know what? It was his dad. It was Lewis Hamilton's dad, Anthony Hamilton. And then they said, and then Mercedes put something out there on Twitter and said, I don't know what he's talking about. Anthony Hamilton hasn't been involved with Lewis Hamilton's day-to-day operations since 2012. So I knew something. So I thought to myself, I worked this out. I thought to myself, you know what? What race are we coming? Abu Dhabi 2021. Remember Abu Dhabi 2021 when Lewis got screwed? What happens in every single race when we have a weekend of racing? What trends? Abu Dhabi scandal. And where are we this weekend just gone? Abu Dhabi 2021. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was orchestrated by Red Bull and the F1 to say, you know what? Put out, not F1, Red Bull. Put out a tweet, put out a thing and say, you know what? Get them talking about something else. We don't want to go into this last race trending Abu Dhabi scandal, Red Bull cheats. So what they did, they put out this stupid story which didn't exist and said, you know what? Let's go with this story because at least then they won't be talking about Abu Dhabi 2021 again. This is what it was done. Because it's funny how nobody's talking about it now. It's all disappeared. It was all orchestrated. The first message came from Christian Horner. He said that he wanted to join Red Bull, which was utter garbage. And he deliberately done it. He deliberately put the message out there so people could stop talking about Abu Dhabi scandal because we were in Abu Dhabi and Red Bull cheats. Yeah. They didn't want the weekend tainted by the truth, which was the scandal. And that's my opinion. What's your opinion on that? Sorry for ranting. I just had to get it out.
I think with
it was made up. It was made up.
Yes, all right. I think with the Chris Horner thing, when he was mentioning that he wanted to join Red Bull, Lewis Hamilton. I
Utter
think it's
garbage.
all to do with mind games as well, in my
Oh yeah,
opinion.
of
I
course,
think it's all
standard.
because you know what Christian Horner's like. Even Lewis Hamilton says he's like getting people's head, getting other people's heads, teams, just to try to throw them off. It's not gonna work, but he's trying his best, and that's what he does. It's Christian Horner. So I think all that rubbish, putting out rumors for Abu Dhabi, it's just all mind games for next season. Because I think some Mercedes fans think that we're gonna have a bad car next season. It's gonna be the same. But if you think about it, right, Mercedes are getting the entire new car. It's gonna look like a new car. It's gonna look like a relegation change on that
Yeah,
car,
yeah,
man, because
yeah. Of
they're
course.
gonna have the same looking car as Red Bull. And now it's either 50-50. It's either it suits the car or it doesn't. And I'm
Yeah.
going towards the left side. I'm going towards that it's gonna suit the car because this is what they needed. All that time they wasted, it was due to Mercedes' laziness and slack.
Yeah. Arrogance.
That's it. That's what ended up in this position right now, right? But now it's got through to their head. It's got through to their head now, and now they're thinking, right? If we change the concept, we're gonna have larger chances of winning next season. Because
That picture just coming.
look at the
Yeah.
back end of this season. McLaren's coming up. Look at McLaren. Beating the customer a couple times. That's 5 races. Beating Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari getting up there as well. You never saw Leclerc up there in second all season. You never saw Sainz up there in the top 5 fighting all season. You never saw that all season. But now you got McLaren on the
Overwing.
rise.
Overwing.
You
Yeah.
got Ferrari on the rise. Of course, you got Red Bull there, what's already made, and now you got Mercedes on the rise.
Are they?
I've never thought McLaren to be. I think McLaren's going to be in a world championship, fighting for the world championship next season.
I believe so.
I just think that. I don't know. I think Aston Martin as well. I think we'll be up there as well as like an underdog, fighting in the top 5, fighting in the top 6. Look at Alonso. Look what Alonso's doing with that car, man. Getting it up in third, getting it up in there. Finished seventh today in Abu Dhabi. What a drive by Alonso! What a drive! And there's going to be a lot of teams going to next season. It's going to be on the rise. I think Aston Martin's going to be a really, really good underdog in this fight for the championship. You know, because Aston Martin says, I know we've already explained this at the Chandler concert. I'm not going to go over a whole monologue on it because we already mentioned it. But I think Aston Martin's going to be on the rise. Ferrari's going to be on the rise. McLaren, Mercedes, of course, Red Bull already made. I think there's going to be 5 teams in it next season. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think there's going to be at least 5 or 4 teams in the next season. And I think that will probably, if it's going to be the same season, like this season, next season.
Oh, God help us.
Formula One is just going to drop. It's going to drop ratings. It's going to drop fans. People won't watch it anymore. That's what I don't want to happen to Formula One. Because I love the sport, right? And I don't want it to go down. I don't want it to shut down. It's never ever going to shut down anyway, right? But if they're going to keep on losing fans, keep on losing ratings, it's going to be a bad reputation. And not a lot of people want to go there because of this FIA scandal and all that. It's put a bad reputation on Formula One there.
Yeah. Overwing. So I'm looking at these driver standards and look, Alonso, 4th in. You gotta do the hats off to Alonso, man. Hats off to Alonso. 4th in the drivers' championship. 4th. Now, he has beaten Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, George Russell. He's beat them all. Lance Stroll has finished in 10th place with 74 points. And Alonso is finished in 4th place with 206. That is an achievement that is the haters would not acknowledge. The haters would not acknowledge. There's a lot of haters out there, Alonso, with Lewis fans. They just can't accept that Alonso's a good driver. They won't give him the credit that he's a good driver. They won't do it. But looking at that, that's 206 in 4th place. He's 43 next year. 43. 43 next year, Alonso. Do you know what Alonso said in the interview today? Alonso said, I'm driving the best I've ever done. Even when he won the championship, in his 2 years he won the championship. The 2 years he won the championship, right? What was it, 2000? We won it 2005, 2006, when he became world champion, the double world champion. Alonso said that he's driving better than then. He said this was his best season he has ever had, Alonso. That's what Alonso said today. Alonso. To all you haters out there, acknowledge Alonso. Acknowledge, you're talking about Roman Reigns being acknowledged. Acknowledge Alonso. 43 years of age in a couple of months, and he is driving like this. That's all I can say. Listen to me, you stupid geeks. I know you haven't heard that in a while. Remember that back in the day, 2017? You stupid geeks. Alonso, nearly 43, finishing 4th in the table. Alonso, 43 in a couple of months, finishing 4th in the table. 4th. And where did his teammate finish? 10th, Lance Stroll, 74 points. Alonso, 4th, 206. And he's 43 years of age. He's old enough to be Lance Stroll's dad. He's old enough to be Lance Stroll's dad. And he's driving that car like a 20-year-old. Acknowledge Alonso. Very simple.
You got to give where credit's due, man, for Alonso.
I just had to, that's for the TikTok video. Go, carry on.
If you look at the stats for Alonso, with qualifying, the race, he's getting the best of that car. He's the one that's putting in points. And again, finished 4th in the championship. Big up to him. Beat Leclerc at the last race. Of course, Aston Martin couldn't really get that constructors point off McLaren because McLaren was too far ahead, and Aston Martin, Stroll wasn't really delivering for Aston Martin. It was also Alonso was making, the moves up the pack. So that's probably why they didn't really get McLaren for the constructors. But I think how Aston Martin did this season, I think they had probably an up and down season. I think they had a strong start to the beginning of the season when Mercedes got that horrendous result for not changing the concept, but then Aston Martin changed the concept and got a lot of podiums in the opening season. I think when it came to like mid-end season, that's when the Aston Martin all of a sudden had a really, really big drop and started to get like bottom 5s out in Q1, out in Q2, which I was surprised to see. But it seemed like when they did a couple upgrade, I think it was like Las Vegas or the race or Brazil, Aston Martin made a little tweak on their car, and it's been the same since. It's been really, really good since that Brazil and Las Vegas mark. And now seeing them perform, of course, Alonso especially performing consistently. That's what I'm saying. If he's a candidate for world champion, I think Alonso's got to be in there for next season.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. There's no shadow of a doubt. No shadow of a doubt that Alonso is not going to be the candidate for world champion next season. No shadow of a doubt. This guy is relentless. Relentless. This guy craps, eats, breathes, sleeps F1. He is nearly 43 years of age and he is driving like a 20-year-old. Like a 20-year-old. He finished 4th in the Drivers' Championship. 4th. 206 points. And his teammate Lance Stroll finished in 10th with 74 points. You talk about Roman Reigns, acknowledging Roman Reigns. Acknowledge Alonso. That's for the TikTok video again. Just had to get that out. That was a better one. I don't think that was better. Anyway, forget all that, yeah? The season's done. And I'm going to go through the final Drivers' Championships, the way it finished. And then we'll see what happens from there. So Max Verstappen, 575 points, first place. Second, Perez. Third, Hamilton. Fourth, Fernando Alonso. Fifth place, Charles. Sixth, Norris. Eighth, seventh, Sainz. Eighth, Russell. Ninth, Piastri. 10th, Stroll. 11th, Gasly. 12th, Ocon. 13th, Albon. 14th, Tsunoda. 15th, Bottas. 16th, Hulkenberg. 17th place, Ricardo. 18th, Wan Yu Zhou. 19th, Magnussen. 20th, Lawson. 21, Sargent. And 22, Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries, remember him? Anyway, I think Ricardo's going to have to... If Ricardo wants that seat next season, I mean, the season after, he's going to have to work hard for it now. Because Perez is going to be out of contract. It'll be Perez's last season next year, probably with Red Bull. So Red Bull, 860 points of the constructors. What a complete washout. Mercedes second, 409. Ferrari 406. That was a decent battle today, actually. I don't know what Charles was thinking. I'll get into that in a minute. McLaren 302. Fifth place, Aston Martin with 280. Alpine 120 in sixth place. Seventh, Williams at 28 points. AlphaTauri 25 is going to be the new name next year. I don't know what it's going to be though. France, Tosh is gone. New companies coming. Tosh is out. Ninth place, Alfa Romeo with 16th, and Haas at the bottom as always with 12 points. Now, I'm looking at this now. I was thinking, right, next season's going to come. Ricardo. No, I was thinking, no, not Ricardo. Charles Leclerc. What was Charles thinking today in that race? What was he thinking? I would have just kept... I don't know why he dropped back one lap towards the end. What he should have done, what the tactic that Charles was doing, he should have done that about 3 laps before. He done it right at the end. He slowed down. He let Perez past him. That means he lost points. I just don't understand why Charles did that. And I think Mercedes would have got over the line just anyway. But what I'm saying is, when Charles dropped back today in that race on the last lap, he cost Ferrari less points, because he went from second to third. So I don't understand why he dropped back. And I was thinking, when I was here in the press conference after, there was the press conferences after, and I was talking, you know, when they go in the cool down room, there was all 3 of them was talking. I heard Charles says, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then the guy looked at him and goes, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have. And he said, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. But he should have stayed in second and see what happened, what was behind him. But I don't understand why he let Perez, he dropped back for Perez, because it cost Ferrari points in the constructors. But I think Mercedes had it sealed anyway, because Hamilton passed Tsunoda at the end. No, he didn't pass Tsunoda. I think he got up just behind Tsunoda. He messed up. And he messed up. He went a bit wide. He went too hot in that corner. So overall, before we sign out, Toto, what do you think of this overall? We know how the season is, but this overall race today.
I think the race, I expected a safety car. At least I expected a safety car. There was no safety cars today, no VSCs, no major collisions, no major battles. There was one battle between Lando and Perez, which it was all Perez's fault. He turned into him. He went for a lunge, which he knew was dangerous, but then went into Lando, which Lando had to take the escape road after. And then Perez got the well-deserved penalty, which was deserved, because I think it was Perez's fault. But I think out of all that, of course, you had the Hamilton-Tsunoda fight, you had the Perez fight, you had the... I think they're probably the only 2 major fights that will probably affect in championship standings, really. And, yeah, I think my opinion on the race, I'm going to give it a 10. I'll probably give it a 4 out of 10, because I don't think it was a really, really good race. I think qualifying was all right, but I think if you're on about the race, I don't think it was a good race in my eyes. There was a few good battles, but that's it.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. So we're going to sign in that and just messing with your camera on here. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's it really. There's nothing more we can talk about at the end of the season. But before we go, we will be talking about... we're still going to be talking about F1. We're going to be doing... These are going on audio, by the way. Audio podcasts. I'm going to be uploading some today. We're going to do some audio podcasts. So look out for that as well. It's Solo P1 F1 reviews. So look on that on my channel today. And that's it, man. We're signing out of here. This is the end of the 2023 season. Let's hope we have a better season. I'll let you go now, Toto. Actually, you can stay. Let me do my monologue before I go. Now, you can take your camera or leave it on. It's up to you. I'm going to do my monologue before we sign out. That's what we sign out together, don't matter. Now, before we leave for the 2023 season, before the season's coming to an end, which I'm a bit upset because I really love Formula One. I really, really love Formula One. I love Formula One. The 4 things I love in this world in sport is tennis, Formula One, Liverpool FC, and WWE wrestling, because they're the 4 sports I grew up watching. Now, we all know that Red Bull have dominated. We know. But next season has to be different. It has to be different. It has to be. We can see the light. We're slowly starting to see the light. We can see teams emerging forward. We can see Aston Martin starting to make ground. We can see Ferrari going in the right direction. We can see McLaren, for me, the most improved team of the year. At the beginning, McLaren were nowhere. Nowhere. Now, all of a sudden, in the second half of the season, as soon as Silverstone come around, then, boom, they've catapulted right up there. I believe if McLaren had this form at the beginning of the season, we'd be looking at McLaren second in the constructors. But it happened after the summer break, or just before the summer break. You can see the light. You could start to see teams catching up. Because Red Bull, they've hit their speed cap now. The FIA F1, they can't go any faster. They've reached their potential now. Now it's up to the other teams to catch up. All right, they're going to have a few tweaks in here, few tweaks here and there, upgrades. But the potential, the speed cap, that's it. You can't go any faster. Now it's up to the teams to figure out how to catch Red Bull. It's up to Ferrari, it's up to Aston Martin, and it's up to Mercedes, and it's up to the other teams to catch up. Because we know in life and we know in sport, nothing lasts forever. Quote from Toto Wolff from a couple of years ago. He said, we will get beat eventually. We will get beat eventually. Nothing lasts forever. Just like Vettel did in 2013. We have to remember these days. We have to remember these days. Because nothing lasts forever. This season has been a disaster. If you're not even if you're a Red Bull fan, you must think about it. Say, you know what? Where's the competition? I know you're saying that McLaren and think is your guy, Red Bull's your team. But as a Red Bull fan, you must be thinking, look what we had in 2021 and look what we got now. And you must be thinking, where is F1 going? Because if this continues to carry on year in and year out, this sport is going to sink and sink. The TV ratings are already tanking. They're already tanking. The TV ratings are already tanking. And if next season starts and it comes to winter testing, they go from Spain, then they go Bahrain, and then lights out of the way we go at Bahrain, and Red Bull start smashing everybody again. People are not going to watch it. People are going to go, what am I going to watch that for? Why would I watch that dead sport? Because I know that stupid geek will win again. That team will win again. And the F1 will bend the rules for them, like they've done this season. They've bended all the rules for them. You know it, and I know it. Any little rules, any little penalties, he gets away with it. Perfect example. Las Vegas. What happened in Las Vegas when they got the penalty? Which you should have got a 10-second penalty. Says on the radio, send my regards to the FIA stewards. Because he knows he's protected. We do not want this in 2024.
Yeah.
We need everybody on equal grounds.
1 second.
This season has been an utter disaster. I can honestly say this is the worst season in Formula One I have ever witnessed. Ever. Even for the neutrals. So I'm going, lads. I'm going, people. Boys and girls. Remember to like this video, but lights out of the way we go. February, we're going to be back. We're still going to be doing Flaming Tarmac videos. I will promise I'll do my best. I'll do one every week, Flaming Tarmac, to keep an eye, keep an update on Formula One news. Every week I will do a pre-recorded video, and I will do a pre-recorded video like I always do for Flaming Tarmac, because after this one here is going to be the last F1 review video to go on audio podcast. This is going to be the last one. Or if you want to listen to F1 reviews and you want to listen to the qualifying reviews, just go onto the YouTube channel and you can watch them there. All my Flaming Tarmacs, my weekly Flaming Tarmacs that we're going to do the roundup news will all be on the audio podcast. They'll be like between 50 to 20 minutes long. It'll be like a wrap-up video of the news, and that will be on audio. But all the F1 reviews, live reactions, all that is going to be on YouTube. So we've got it for you. So if you want to watch the F1 reviews and the qualifying, watch them on YouTube. It's all there for you. And if you want to listen to the Flaming podcast, Flaming Tarmac podcast, which is the weekly podcast where we talk about the roundup of all the F1 news, that will be on iTunes and Spotify. So this video now will be the last video to go on audio podcast, like for Spotify and iTunes. But come and follow the channel, show the love. Toto, I know he's got something coming up. He's doing his weekly podcast as well. The Burning Rubber, he's going to be back on it. Because the Formula One season is done, doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're still going to do the weekly podcast because that's what we do. We're going to keep the Formula One content coming. So I'm going to give you back to Toto Hammer now. Toto can tell you what he's doing. And also we've got the football this week, which we'll talk about that tomorrow, because we've got the wrap-up show of the weekend, week 13. That's coming tomorrow as well. So go and speak to Toto Hammer now. Toto Hammer will let you know what we're doing. And after that, we'll wrap up and we're going to say goodbye. Go on, Toto, what are you doing?
Guys, go look out for our weekly shows. There'll be shows either every week, every fortnight. So go look out for that.
But what you doing on your channel?
Of course, so there was some more shorts coming on my channel, more clips. Of course, any Gran Turismo, major events, simulators, racing, do it on my channel as well. Any major news will be broke, and go hit to my socials, my YouTube. But I'm already on YouTube. I'm not really going to start my YouTube. Go subscribe to Toto Hammer anyway.
What about your podcast? F1 man.
Yeah, of course, Burning Rubber and all that's coming, man. More because look, off season, this is when it's the best to make news videos about Formula One. It's going to be a lot of news, whole new library concepts maybe soon. You know, the sweats are online, but yeah, there's going to be lots and lots of news coming up, and that's going to be cool.
So what's your name of your podcast? I'll let you people know for the audio and that. Your name of your podcast.
My name of my Formula One podcast is Burning Rubber Podcast. I need to get to at least double figures on that podcast, man. Still on a single figure.
So we've got all that coming.
Again, yeah, the more news that comes, the more I'll record, and them videos won't be live, they'll be pre-recorded. So go check out them under my video. Are they going to
be weekly?
Yeah, weekly. Okay, whenever there's news, weekly or every fortnight, whenever there's news on, like major news, or maybe some mini news that I can report.
It's basically going to be the weekend roundup. That's what you say. Yeah, it's going to be the weekend roundup.
Yeah.
So basically, at the end of the week, we're just going to do our podcast. I'll do mine, Flaming Tarmac, and you'll do your Burning Rubber. So
yeah.
So that's it, man. Go subscribe to Solo P1, and go subscribe to Toto Hammer on his YouTube. And also when I do my when these reviews, this is, like I said, this is the last review to come on iTunes. But the rest will be Flaming Tarmac. Obviously you're on there as well. But yeah, go and subscribe to Toto Hammer. He's going to be doing his weekly podcast on his YouTube channel, and it's called the Burning Rubber. I think you're on episode 8 or 9 now, aren't you? One of them.
Yeah.
I think he's on episode 8 or 9, and he's going to be doing that through when the F1 season's not on. It's just basically the video sometimes could be 5 minutes, and it could be 10 minutes. It actually could even be 4 minutes. Doesn't matter. But he will be doing that as a weekly news, even if it's just like a bulletin thing where he can say, "Oh, Lewis Hamilton's doing this," or Charles Leclerc is thinking about doing this. It might be even a 2-minute video, but it will be counted. If you do a 2-minute video, it will count as an episode of the Burning Rubber. So I like them. I remember we used to do them. They were good. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. Is that what you meant? Totally. You want to say anything else to the masses?
Yeah, I'm going to say,
stay safe.
yeah,
Wash your
goodbye to
blood clot.
everyone.
Go on.
Yeah. But I'm also going to say that, look, see you guys next season, man. I'm not really going to see you guys later next season. Of course, I've got Formula 1 videos coming up.
Football.
But let's see how next season is, man, because even though Formula 1's gone, I still miss it inside, man.
Yeah, I miss it now.
That feeling, even though it's been off air for hours now, but, you know, it's just going to be that feeling that for what we're going to watch. Of course, we've got the football, but football, that's it really. Of course, you've got other sports as well. Of course, you've got GT racing that comes on now and again, but Formula 1 is usually that main part, that feeling, you know. So, yeah, I'm just going to miss it. That's all.
Okay. I'm going to miss it as well. So, see you later, guys. F1's giving back soon. Don't worry about it. That's it, man. That's the end of it. See you later, guys. Big up.
See you later.
See you later. 2024 coming.